experts are saying that if you are not learning AI, you are already falling behind because within 2 years, 80% of jobs will require some kind of AI knowledge. But before you dive into the AI ecosystem, you need to learn a couple of terminologies, including API, MCP, connectors, skills, and plugins. And you might have heard those words somewhere. In this video, I'll explain it in plain and simple English. They are really important, especially in relation to Claude AI. So, application programming interface, which is also called API in short, this is basically a set of rules that two softwares agree on that we will communicate with each other while following these conditions. Visually, we interact with the computer using an interface. For example, we use the keyboard, we use the mouse, we use the monitor, we use the buttons, but softwares themselves, they do not communicate visually. They communicate with each other under a set of rules, which is called an API. If one software, for example, this is my app and I want to communicate with another app, it asks me that you have to give me a structured request in a specific format, and you have to comply with this endpoint, and you have to get an API key in order for you to get a response out of my software, and that response will also be in a structured format. Every software has its own API, its own rules, its own format. YouTube API is completely different from OpenAI API, and so on. So it also creates a problem because if you want your app to connect to all of them, you have to run every single one from scratch separately. That's months of work, and this exact problem is what led to the creation of MCP, which we'll go to next. So MCP is also called Model Context Protocol. It was created by Anthropic. So previously what was happening is this thing in the middle, it was not here. Claude had to directly ask YouTube, Gmail, LinkedIn, Stripe in their own language that I want this data from you because Claude was asked by its user. And Claude had to understand the language of each and every single one of these APIs. Claude thought about it and said that this is too much. It requires a lot of computational power. This is tedious. Claude said, why not I create my own language for connecting to external tools? So Claude created MCP. This is a universal standardized language for AI so that AI can connect to these tools seamlessly. Essentially what happened was, instead of talking to them in their language, Claude made a universal language for AI and asked them that you have to make your tools compatible with this. So now instead of Claude speaking to them in their own language, it speaks to them in Claude's language, and they had to respond because Claude has millions of users and these companies do not want to miss on those on that revenue. Besides, MCP is open source, so it is now industry standard used by Google and OpenAI. Plus also, if these companies do not want to make their API MCP compatible, some third party can come along and make it MCP compatible because their APIs are public documentation.